start, Prabhu.
Trying to share my screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtikim. Hare Krishna. Today we are going to read Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 10, text 17. Sitatapatram jagraha mukta dama vibhushitam ratnadandam gudakesha priya priyatamasyaha. Sitatapatram jagraha mukta dama vibhushitam ratnadandam gudakesha priya priyatamasyaha. Read one more time. Sitatapatram jagraha mukta dama vibhushitam ratnadandam gudakesha priya priyatamasyaha. What word translation? Sitatapatram, soothing umbrella. Jagraha, took up. Muktadama, decorated with laces and pearls. Vibhushitam, embroidered. Ratnadandam, with a handle of jewels. Gudakesha, Arjuna, the expert warrior, or one who has conquered sleep. Priyaha, most beloved. Priyatamasya, of the most beloved. Her, so he did. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. At that time, Arjuna, the great warrior and conqueror of sleep, who is the intimate friend of the most beloved Supreme Lord, took up an umbrella which had a handle of jewels and was embroidered with lace and pearls. Purport: gold, jewels, pearls, and valuable stones were used in the luxurious royal ceremonies. They are all nature's gifts and are produced by hills, oceans, etc. by the order of the Lord. When man does not waste his valuable time in producing unwanted things in the name of necessities. By so-called development of industrial enterprises, they are now using pots of gutta percha instead of metals like gold, silver, brass, and copper. They are using margarine instead of purified butter, and 1/4 of the city population has no shelter. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Kam karoti vachalam pangam langhayate girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Deenatarinam. Hare Krishna. I feel blessed and grateful for getting this opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam with all the assembled Vaishnavas. I seek blessings of each and every one of you so that I can speak something which is beneficial for everyone. So I'll read the translation once again. At that time, Arjuna, the great warrior and conqueror of sleep, who is the intimate friend of the most beloved Supreme Lord, took up an umbrella which had a handle of jewels and was embroidered with lace and pearls. I asked Lingaraju Prabhu to title today's talk as Vedic Culture, the right environment for spiritual progress. The reason is we have been looking at in this whole section where Krishna starts to Dwaraka. We have seen various things starting from he goes and offers obeisances to Yudhishthir Maharaj, then embraces Bhima, then he actually blesses the Nakula and Sahadeva, and then in the last few verses we have seen yesterday's class, Mohan Leela Prabhu was discussing how these women come out and they start giving a farewell to Krishna in their own way. They are standing on the rooftops, and we have seen various things. These all aspects are these all show the cultural fabric of that time. So if we look deeper into Shastra, of course, one of the most important and prime contribution of Shastra in our life is the spiritual knowledge. It gives us the spiritual direction. It gives us the muscle to follow the spiritual path. It gives us the goals to achieve. It gives us the process we can follow to achieve those goals. But there are many other things which Shastra discusses also, like in this particular section, the culture which is prominent in those times is being highlighted, and there is a reason for this. If we look from the perspective of a person who thinks that Shastra should only give us some high level knowledge. So for them, Vedanta Sutra kind of philosophy, Vedanta Sutra kind of scriptures fit very well because they don't discuss much about all these things. But then in Bhagavatam, we get to see various aspects of living actually. Of course, it is Amala Purana, and it doesn't discuss anything about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Rather, it only discusses about the Panchama Purushartha, that is Prema Pumarto Mahan. But we also see such things to understand what kind of culture was existing in those days. And why is it important? Because culture, one of the meanings of culture is a right environment where something can grow. Like, for example, we see about, so these are the things where, those particular tissues or bacteria can grow nicely. So similarly, Vedic culture means a culture or an environment where a person can make spiritual progress very easily. So in other words, this is also, to a large extent related to the Varnashram Dharma. But if we see the discussion between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, when Ramananda Rai says that, achieving, following the Varnashram Dharma is the goal of life, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately says, Yahi Bahya, this is just external. And of course, from there he starts and he goes up to the love of gopis for Krishna. That is the highest. But then we can see that any time we see spiritual practices, there is a cultural setting behind, and that setting is quite important. Unless, except for people like Srila Prabhupada, we don't find generally people practicing, spiritual life so peacefully and happily in a very uncultured situation, I would say. Prabhupada actually came here to the West where there is practically no culture. In fact, one of the reporters or one of the disciples, I don't remember, asked Prabhupada what do you think about American culture? Prabhupada said, culture, it's a good idea. So, so the whole point is, generally people aspire, those who are aspiring spiritual practitioners, they try to find right culture where they can actually progress, they can actually grow. It's true for all of us, isn't it? That if we have to travel abroad, let us say travel abroad or some other place, what is the first thing which goes on in our minds? Is there a temple there? Are there devotees around? Why? Because that kind of culture helps us practice progress in our spiritual life. If that is not there, then we try to make some arrangement where we can protect our Krishna consciousness, because that cultural environment, if it is there, it becomes very easy for us. One of the reasons why I stay in Naperville is that because there are many devotees here. There is temple just across the street. um, although my workplace is far away, I do that. I prefer staying here because this cultural setting helps me progress in spiritual life. Although some may say that, oh, spiritual life can be practiced everywhere. Yeah, it is true. It can be practiced everywhere. It can be practiced anywhere practically. Wherever a devotee goes, that is Vrindavan. But that is true for only few devotees, not for everyone. Because we don't have a capacity, at least at sadhaka level, we don't have a capacity to carry Vrindavan wherever we go. So it is important for all of us to find out that right culture. So in all this whole section, we see the cultural aspect of Maharaj Yudhishthir's times. Here we read Arjuna is carrying this jeweled umbrella, which is embroidered with lace and pearls. So like this, we see many other aspects in the whole section. So coming into those details, actually, if we see, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachasi Tadaham Bhakti Upahritam Asnami Prayatatmanaha. If you just offer me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or a little water, I am satisfied. But then what is the need of Arjuna offering such a costly umbrella to the Lord, which has made up of gold, and which has a handle embedded or bedecked with so many jewels, and the cloth is also laced with pearls and embroidery. What is the use? I mean, is Krishna looking at what Arjuna offering? No, obviously not. Krishna is not interested in a golden handled umbrella. Or is Arjuna having some ulterior motive to please Krishna so that he can get his things done? No, even that is not the case. Here, this golden umbrella actually represents an item with which Arjuna is trying to show his love. It's always true that we see many people, I mean, whenever we go to a birthday party or wherever, we try to carry a gift. And what is the purpose of the gift? It's not about the cost of the gift. It's not about trying to bribe the other party so that we can get our things done. But of course, in social circles, that's very common. But in devotee circle, we don't see that. The purpose is to please the other person, right? We carry some gift so that we want. I mean, the main purpose is to see that person happy, and that is the whole point here. So when Krishna says Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, yeah, it is right that Krishna is simply satisfied with whatever we give. But we also have to understand that if Arjuna offers Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, a person who is in a kingly order, it's not the right kind of offering, right? Because he can offer much more. But if a person like Sudama Vipra or somebody, if he offers chipped rice, Krishna is happy with that. So the whole thing is that Krishna is going to be pleased by our offering, depending on of course, when we speak about the kind of offering, that is that should be something which is the best we can offer, right? Here Arjuna is able to offer this golden handled umbrella, so Krishna is happy with that. That is the best Arjuna could offer. So Krishna is always looking for that best within a given circumstance. What is the best that we can offer. So similarly, if we see in our Krishna consciousness practice also, what are we offering to Krishna actually through our sadhana? Is it the number of rounds? Is Krishna looking for he chanted 16, so let me credit some mercy in his account? No, it's not that. Is it like okay, he read Srimad Bhagavatam. Should I, I will credit some amount of mercy. So does it come with some kind of price tag like that? Is there a mercy tag like, this amount of mercy will be credited to you if you do this particular spiritual practice? No, it is not that. Krishna is not looking at how many rounds we are chanting. In fact, he is not looking at our counting. He is looking at our consciousness. So it's important what we invest in these activities. So chanting, when we chant the holy names of God, it is a direct address to the Supreme Lord. But with what motivation, with what intention? Are we asking Krishna to fulfill our desires? Are we asking Krishna to, come and reside in our heart? Are we asking, or we don't even feel any connection with Krishna and say that, okay, Guru said that, so I'm doing it? Or are we simply thinking that, okay, I have to chant because I have to be recognized as a devotee? So these are various motivations. I'm just picking 3 or 4, but there can be a million motivations behind our chanting. So what is Krishna expecting out of our chanting is the best out of it. What is that? The mood of surrender, the mood of surrender, the mood of humility, where we surrender to the holy name, understanding that holy name is not different than Krishna. So in every spiritual practice, that is going to be the key of success of that spiritual practice. If we are let us say reading Srimad Bhagavatam or doing any kind of service, what is Krishna looking at that? Of course, achieving that is one thing. Achieving or fulfilling that, or completing that task is one aspect. But how do we do that is more important, and Krishna is going to look at that. He's not interested in whether we did this or that. He's not very interested. It depends on what is the best we are able to offer, and that is what is going to please Krishna. And if we are offering the best to Krishna, is it that Krishna is some kind of uh, like one devotee was saying that you can't please Krishna with anything because he's best at everything, isn't it? Like you can't please Krishna with your gold because Krishna is Lakshmipati. You can't please Krishna with knowledge because he is the one who spoke Bhagavad Gita, one of the topmost knowledge, Raja Vidya, right? So we can't please Krishna with all these things, but at the same time we can please Krishna with all these things when we offer them in the right attitude. So here Arjuna is offering this golden handled, pearl bedecked umbrella. So Krishna is not looking at, what Arjuna is offering, rather Krishna is looking at how Arjuna is offering. So that is very important for all of us. Prabhupada very interestingly says in the purport that today, in the name of modern advancement, people are using Gotapacha. I was looking for this, the meaning of this word. It is a kind of plastic, or plastic which today, which is very popular. It's kind of synthetic plastic or something like that. So yeah, it's true that we have degraded a lot. I mean, although people call it advancement, at least I don't feel so. People were using golden and silver plates, and today we are using porcelain or plastic or paper plates. That is one example Prabhupada gives. But if we look at every aspect of life, we have degraded from the Vedic culture, actually. Of course, there are many reasons for that, and we are not going to look at those reasons. There are political, there are cultural, there are convenience, and there are many others, and there are greed. So many reasons are there behind why there is a downfall of that culture. But the whole point here is that this kind of culture where we are trying to offer the best in every situation for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of devotees around us, that is the right culture where spiritual progress can happen very easily. Just like I was explaining about a tissue culture, where some tissues can grow very nicely. Similarly, we need this we need this, Vedic culture, or we can term it as, Varnashram Dharma in a broad sense, to practice spiritual life. I was hearing one example from one devotee. He was saying that he was giving a beautiful analogy how Varnashrama and spiritual life are related. In fact, spirituality has nothing to do with anything. It is simply the expansion of our consciousness. It is simply an offering of our consciousness to Krishna. But then if we, this analogy is something like this. He said that spiritual life is like walking on a tightrope. These people generally, in India, we see on the roadside, they put 2 sticks and there is a rope, and a little girl is walking, balancing on that, right? So it is like walking on a tightrope. Imagine if we are asked to do that. Um, we'll be terrified, right? What will happen if we fall from there? Maybe we'll never get up again. Uh, so 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 how these people practice is they arrange a kind of net uh, below the rope, when they are practicing at higher heights. And once they are expert, of course, they don't need the net. So, spiritual life is like walking on a tight rope, and Varnashram Dharma is the net that is behind, that is below the tight rope. Now, a person falls from a highest standard. This net of Varnashram Dharma is going to protect him. If that net is not there, and if he has to fall from a higher standard of spiritual life, he will fall so hard that he can't get up again. So this Varnashram Dharma actually protects us. That's why we see this division of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Grahastha, and Sannyasi. These divisions actually are prescribed in the Shastra, although that is not technically pure spirituality. Although that has nothing to do with spirituality in one sense, but this is prescribed because in this culture we can actually expand our consciousness very easily, realize Krishna very easily. So in the whole section that we are reading in these days of Srimad Bhagavatam, reading every day in the morning, we see the cultural aspect where what Yudhishthir Maharaj and others are practicing in those days, which becomes of course very important for all of us to understand the proper etiquette, what is being followed there. And that's why we also have these ISKCON also has these etiquettes classes and all that. That is simply to create the right culture. If everyone follows their own whims and fancies, then there is no uniformity, there is no proper culture. Actually, there is no any, when the culture is lost, it becomes very difficult for us to practice spiritual life and progress. So the Vedic culture actually gives that background to us. It gives us that these are the certain rules and regulations that we follow, so that we can easily realize Krishna. Although, as I said, it is not like a direct correlation, but it helps a lot. So that is why many sannyasis in ISKCON today are focusing on reviving Varnashram Dharma. Srila Prabhupada also said that, if only I have time, I would like to establish Varnashram Dharma in a very solid way, Daivi Varnashram Dharma. But of course, Prabhupada, we all know that he did not have much time, so he did the most important things, translating Srimad Bhagavatam, giving us Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna, and all these books. So I think it is 7:26. Maybe I'll just conclude with whatever important points I just discussed. So I started saying that this whole section discusses the cultural setting of the times of Yudhishthira Maharaj, which gives us a overview of what kind of culture is being followed. And then we discussed about what is the culture, definition of a culture, where in an environment where something can grow very nicely. And Vedic culture is an environment where spiritual progress can happen very nicely. It becomes very easy. And then we discussed something about kind of offering Arjuna was doing, by offering this golden handled umbrella to Krishna. So it's not the object, it's not the thing, but it's the intention behind every activity or every thought. That's what is going to matter for Krishna. And when we can, and Krishna is always looking at what best we can offer. Our best need not be the best. It can be our best can be something, and somebody else's best can be something else. And whatever best we offer, and that is how we actually want to please Krishna, and Krishna is going to be pleased by that. And we also discussed a little bit about chanting. How do we connect this to chanting and our daily sadhana? Then we have seen about how in the modern day culture things have degraded from higher standard to lower standard, and as Kali progresses, this is going to happen more and more. So these are some of the thoughts. If anyone have any comments or I don't know questions, please feel free to go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice talk, very nice preaching of this one. And I like the Varnasrama system being the net, which will, that was a very nice analogy. And then I was remembering the temple processions in Kerala, the grandeur, of the god will come out on the elephant, which is decorated with a great, very jubilant golden and this thing, and then they will be having these beautiful umbrellas and chamara on the elephant, and then there will be so wonderful band playing, a musical, the Panchavarya, the five kinds of musical instruments, and it's a very, and followed by a lot of people, and it's a very grand procession. This umbrella just brought to my mind that it is sometimes there will be so many elephants in procession. I have watched 17 elephants, and all decorated with this golden thing. Very, very grand. It reminds you of what God's grandeur is.
Yeah, yes, Mataji, that's true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
South
you.
India, these elephants are taken in possession for carry the Lord. And we see Srirangam and Kanchipuram and Anantapadmanabh, Kerala, and all these places. And that is the best they can, that area can offer, because there are so many elephants and yes. Yes, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. It was very nice class, as Mataji said. I mean, the way that Prabhupada created the environment, I mean, to create that culture, I mean, to help. I mean, as you said, right? I mean, wherever the devotee is there, I mean, that itself is a holy place, but we are not there. Right? We need that support, and the way Prabhupada created, wherever we go, and we are having that kind of association. I know the Varnashrama system is not there, what is supposed to be, right? I mean, from the Vedic perspective, but at least we have some support, I mean, from whatever perspective that we want, right? Either for prasadam or association or hearing, or I mean, in associations, everything is there wherever the world we go. I mean, so it's a nice environment that Prabhupada created for us. So thank you, Prabhu. I mean, yeah, the way you explained it very beautifully. I mean, a lot of times, I mean, I heard this earlier, the net and thing, but I mean, I don't remember. It's very clear memory. It's good that remind, because every time we are thinking about this, a lot of topics, right? Why they are being discussed in the Bhagavatam and other places, because to have this environment for people to be safeguarded, right?
Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Prabhu. It was nice.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
And the other point you mentioned is, yeah, I think yesterday or Mohanlal was touching yesterday or day before yesterday, somebody was talking about the what we offer, right? So it's not what we offer matters, in what consciousness we are offering, or what is that we are trying to do.
Yes.
So including chanting. So
yeah. I was just trying to say that I mean, Krishna looks at how we offer rather than what we offer. So yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's really wonderful. Just to churn some discussion and some controversial discussion. I know we don't have much time, but just want to leave the thoughts, Prabhu. When we talk about this Varnashrama, just this thought was coming to me. These people definitely, they're very cultured. I mean, I'm talking in those times, they're very cultured and probably in mode of goodness, whichever Varna they are in. and they're leading their lives like that. They are aware of the spiritual knowledge, but they're actually going through the gradual process, which might take them like really long time. So in that respect, yes, one way we are at a disadvantage, not having all that culture, which is kind of a foundation or which will propel us to go further. But on the other hand, not having any of that may be an advantage for Krishna consciousness. Just this thought was coming, Prabhu. If you could share your thoughts on that.
Yes, Mataji. I think it all depends on the sincerity of the follower. A sincere follower, the right opportunity in any given setting. So for such a follower, it doesn't matter which kind of culture he's existing in. We see the example of Srila Prabhupada when he was USA and his visa was expiring, and some devotee suggested him that you should go to Canada. This has been existing since that time. I see people even today that those whose visa is expiring, they try to go to Canada. So the point is, like, when Prabhupada was told that Prabhupada was ready to leave everything here, like he spent 2 years here and he was ready to leave everything, and he wanted to, like, if this country is not going to give me visa, I'm ready to go to Canada and start the international movement from there. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, if a person is, as I said, it depends on the individual's consciousness, level of consciousness. So depending on that, if a person is in a is like a honeybee, obviously he will try to find honey everywhere. It doesn't matter what kind of culture he's in. But if he's like a housefly, he's not going to find honey. Rather, he's going to find some piece of some piece of garbage. So for those who are at that level, if they have to make spiritual progress, then obviously that kind of cultural setting is very important, whether it is today or during the time of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Otherwise such people are just left out. Like, for example, the way I came to Krishna consciousness, I was not at all interested. I was not at all interested to go to temple. The first thing was prasadam. It was very good. But then I saw that my roommates were going to temple, and they come back and they discuss various things at temple. In temple, it was like this, it was like that. This devotee was very good. Then I also felt attracted. Okay, that there is something great there. Let me go and check out what is happening there. So then we saw the deities. Then we saw devotees. First time, so many saffron devotees, highly educated, but then they are all like renunciates. I felt like, oh, this is some nice place to stay. Maybe for my own personal advantage, like I can get some study tips and all that. But slowly, devotees are very intelligent. They just said, okay, if you like that, we'll provide that. But you do something for us also. What is that? Chant Hare Krishna. And when we chant, obviously, Krishna is going to take charge. Then I realized, oh, I shouldn't have come here for such a cheap thing, like some study tips and all that. I should actually have taken advantage of that association of these great devotees. So yeah, I think that is my understanding, Mataji, that it all depends on what kind of goals one has, what kind of aspirations one has, what is the level of one's consciousness. Depending on that, whether we are put in a cultural situation or cultural background, or without any culture, it all boils down to that, Mataji. That is my thought.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, that really helps. It's not for that, one or two very elite and, special souls who anyway may be taking up the process and, like going back. But it's for the general mass of people who may not have that kind of knowledge or opportunity. So we are actually creating that kind of opportunity.
Yeah. So
thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. This is kind of trying to include everyone instead of just trying to keep this as process for some elite people. We are trying to include everyone. So there is, like in ISKCON also, we have this mass preaching and class preaching, right? Some devotees are expert at dealing with high class people. Like we see the example of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, what kind of contacts he has, President of India, Prime Minister of India, and all that. And there are there are devotees who are focusing on mass preaching, like for example, like Jayapataka Maharaj goes to when he gives a class in Bengal, West Bengal, Mayapur, there are thousands of people, like they sometimes they walk from Bangladesh and come also. So of course it's not that Gopal Krishna Maharaj doesn't reach masses or Jayapataka Maharaj doesn't reach class people, but I'm saying that these are the two kinds of broad categorization, I would say. But if we are able to fulfill the needs of both classes, then of course everyone is attracted, and most people will become devotees. So yes, Mataji, thank you very much for your comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Then to continue this conversation, Prabhuji, and I think when Setu Mataji was describing the grand opulence that happens in Kerala, and we see similarly in Tirupati and whatnot, right?
Yes.
One thought that goes to me is also these are the places where a lot of conversion is also happening, right? So, where is this Varnashram system failing? My thought is going there, and what should be our role? Why is this, while there's a safety net that Krishna has provided to us, it apparently it seems like it's failing, right? Because people giving up faith or taking completely different faith and whatnot. How do we process that, Prabhuji? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have been following this also, Prabhu, that there are a lot of conversions and all that happening in those areas. The main reason I find is the disconnect between the temple, or between the knowledge the temple is providing and general mass of people, because they are not feeling connected. And as I said in the in my talk, I was mentioning that the culture is lost, and there are various reasons. There are political reasons. There are many reasons. If we go on discussing, half an hour will not be sufficient. In fact, one day is not sufficient. Uh, um, if we see from one perspective, this has been a constant attack on the so-called Hindu Dharma, or what we call as Sanatan Dharma. It did not start now. It started some 2000 or 2500 years earlier, and the way it is going on today is nothing but what they started, so many thousands of years before. It is a very pinpointed attack on the Sanatan Dharma, just for the sake of sake of totally annihilating it. And we see that these groups which are very very aggressive in converting people to their own faith, it is there in their kind of, I would say, if we read some of their literature, we find that openly being spoken, like those cultures have to be destroyed, those cultures have to be, they speak about the other cultures, you have to establish your own culture, no other culture should be. One way that is coming from there, and in the other way it is, we are not able to connect to our own people. We are not able to connect, because although we are providing knowledge, we are providing this grand processions of the Lord, and all these things are happening. But then today, if we ask any person of any other faith, they can openly tell that I follow this faith and these are the literature I read. But if we ask anyone who is a so-called Hindu or someone, he doesn't even know one verse of Bhagavad Gita, because some time back it was injected into our brains that you have to leave this and advance. You have to leave this culture and you have to progress. We can see that in last 3 generations. I have seen my grandfather, my parents' generation, and my generation, and now the next generation. So these 4 generations, there is a lot of cultural gap between these generations, and there is, the things are not they flow discretely. They don't flow continuously, actually. So because of the discrete flow, many things are lost. Just 2 generations back, the way people were living, it was simply amazing. They were still mostly dependent on nature. They were still mostly dependent on the cultural aspects they had in the society. But as the time progressed, there is a kind of injection which is done into the brains of especially the followers of Sanatana Dharma, saying that you have to leave all these, blind traditions. There are, there are many books written. There are many, studies done to just understand how to break this culture. Actually, we have been seeing that since British time, and it has been happening even before that. So if we have to connect back to people, then the only thing is, first we have to, like they say, charity starts at home, charity begins at home. So first we have to teach to our own children. And I'm sure every child in our community, not only our community, the whole ISKCON is going to be like an asset to the society, because they're getting back to their roots. They now nourish themselves, and they become like beacon lights to the society, to show light to everyone, saying that, this is not a set of blind faith that we are following. This is actually going to be impacting our lives in such a positive way that we can actually change the face of the planet. And I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that this mission will last for 10,000 years, and we are just 500 years after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this kind of propagation, propaganda, if we like, Prabhupada likes to use this word propaganda. So if we actually do it to our own children, we don't have to go and do it in a big way outside. If we can do that, is good. But if we can give that cultural background to our children, they can actually turn the face of our society totally. And that's my understanding, Prabhu.
Yes,
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I think you connected that. First of all, charity begins at home. I think that really stuck me, that we should be putting enough effort to give the ones that are the direct recipients. If they cannot see value, there's no point, right? And yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for making that connection. Mm-hmm.
I know it's too late to add anything, and as Prabhu said, it can go on a long thing. But I feel that the tolerance in Hinduism and the aggressiveness in the other religions, that is what that is what caused the damage in the early years. And now in recent times, the power of money, because the Western culture, they simply pumped money into India and established and in Kerala, it's so clear. I mustn't take any more than 1 minute, but I tell you, this once this Middle East culture, all these Muslim community, they built such schools and madrasa and mosques. I cannot recognize the town in which I went to college, because it's so fully Muslim Islam culture now. So that is the power of money. And of course, the Hindu Dharma failed to protect aggressively. That is the thing. Sorry, I just took too much time. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your comments, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please
Hare
accept my
Krishna.
humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Gauranga.
Hare Krishna.
Beautiful lecture, but I wanted to ask you a question. I think this is for my confusion and remove my confusion. So, we hear that Krishna looks at the consciousness of the devotee versus the actions. So I just heard in one of the lectures, it was by Nitai Sevini Mataji, where she had explained that Krishna is so merciful. So she gave three different examples. So Putna, where she her consciousness was that she her intentions were that she wanted to kill Krishna, but because of the act she did performed, she was able to be liberated. Krishna liberated her. Same thing with Shabari, where her acting was not proper. She was tasting and giving the berries to Sri Ram, but because of that intention, so Lord Ram accepted it. And then Indra, she was comparing to. So Indra was where his intentions were not good. When he with the Gordon reigns, and and then plus his consciousness was not good. He wanted to do that. So yet he still liberated because of the surrenderness of Indra afterwards. So he's just so merciful. So, and when we hear this, consciousness matters, how do we understand what is the best way? I mean, we see lots of different, asuras being liberated too. So the actions were not good, or the intentions were not good, yet he liberated because he's so merciful. So how, I mean, I just want to help, understand what is the way that, we know how we need to surrender or what we are doing.
This is my understanding on this, Mataji. Thank you for that question. I was contemplating on the same thing some time back. What does Krishna actually accept? If you see in mathematics, there are these functions, right? Max function, min function. They try to maximize maximum of, give so many numbers in bracket, so that function takes out what is the maximum of it. So minimum, that takes the minimum of it. So I was trying to correlate it with what Krishna uses a function called a best function, maybe. So it's there he puts intentions, actions, and everything together, and see what is the best this person is able to offer me. Is it the action? Is it the intention? And Krishna is merciful, and that's why he does that. Krishna is extremely merciful. He wants to see the best in everything. He wants to offer a chance to every living entity, whether it is Putana or Indra or anyone. I think that is my understanding, Mataji. Like, if there are good intentions of people, Krishna tries to see the intention. Like, if there are good actions of people, yes, Krishna chooses takes those actions and say, okay, at least he's good at action. He doesn't have right intention, but he's at least good at action. Why not show some mercy upon this particular person? Like in Putana's case, that was the thing. She has no good intentions. But if you have to, if a person like a regular sadhaka, I think Krishna is more towards, because we are trying to cultivate our consciousness, we are trying to cultivate our heart. And Krishna consciousness is basically a state of consciousness. So obviously intentions are going to matter more for a sadhaka. And for Putana kind of persons, it is in one sense it is like Kripa Siddhi. It is because of mercy of Lord. And Kripa Siddhi, there are sadhana siddhas and nitya siddhas, and then Kripa siddhas also. So Krishna wanted to these are like some examples where Krishna wanted to show the extreme mercy, extreme compassion. We see the example of Ajamila also. Same way, there is nothing good about his character after he degraded, but then Krishna took that one good thing that he called out Narayana at the end of his life. So but imagine if he was able to offer his consciousness, Krishna would have gladly accepted that. He wouldn't say that, okay, you just call Narayana and I will show you mercy, right? He wouldn't have done that. And after that also, it's not that Ajamila just got delivered. After that, he practiced 12 years of spiritual spiritual path. He went to Haridwar. He left everything and went to Haridwar and practiced. And what was he doing? Was he simply saying that, okay, one call of Narayana will help me, so let me take rest and call out Narayana again at the time of death? No, he was refining his consciousness. So that goes to show that Krishna is more interested in the offering of our consciousness. But if actions are supportive, yes, both actions and consciousness are going to be an offering to Krishna. But if either one of them is not supportive, let us say either the actions or intentions, then Krishna, what is good in this person? Let me take only that. That's my humble understanding. If anyone has any other corrections, please let me know. Please chime in.
That's very beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu. I think that helps me. He's, because of his nature, he wants to take everyone back home. He doesn't discriminate with this is good, this is bad. He just, whatever good he sees, any little thing he sees good, he's willing to, give us mercy based on our goodness, and whether it's intention or action or both. Or neither. In Indra's case, it's neither. The surrender of, and same thing I think is the Jamil. So
So he was forgiven. Actually, Indra was forgiven based on his surrender later. It's not because
Yeah.
of his action or intent. Right?
Yeah.
So he
Right.
came and he seeked forgiveness, and that was the right intention. Bhavagrahi Janardana. That is the nature of Krishna. Actually.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I think we are well beyond time. Thank you very much for all your participation and kindly blessing me, empowering me to speak here. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada ki jai.